Hi guys, my name's Sam. I'm from the UK and I'm 20 years old. I'm just making a video today for Rob's channel because I recently did a write-up on his page and there's quite a lot of feedback on it, so I thought I'd do a video just to explain it in some more detail with what I mean in regards to each steps of the OCD recovery journey, and especially with what helped with me and what I can hope will help with you as well. So going into my personal journey, I'd say it mainly kicked in when I started looking back now from what I could tell with some OCD behaviours. Probably about when I was about 13, going into secondary school in the UK. Just not really, well, it was affecting my life, but I didn't really know what it was. I didn't have a clue back then. And the themes were mainly just real event, false memory OCD, POCD, anything that you could feel guilty about, anything that you can make mistakes, etc. Really keeping that chronic guilt locked on, and just not letting you off the hook, really, that firm grip. And yeah, I'll go into later detail of what helped with me. But if we roll on the years, when I was about 18, so a couple of years ago now, I was actually on holiday and suddenly I just crashed. The anxiety was through the roof, just panic. Didn't know what to do. Didn't know how to. Still didn't have a clue what it was. Didn't even know what OCD was back then. I just thought it was the stereotypical like things in organised, etc. So yeah, mainly POCD, real event, firmly locked on, and just that probably crying most days. I didn't know what had hit me. Really suffering. Really affected most enjoyable things in my life. So I was lost back then. I would have thought I was still going to work. Somehow, getting up out of bed, getting into work, and then just coming home crashing. Had not much social life. But if I did, I wasn't enjoying it. Um, Affecting my relationship with my friends, my family. Going to sporting events, going to musical events, whatever. Anything that I enjoy, it was getting on everything. And just my quality of life really went down. The worst thing of all, I thought I was alone. I didn't know where to turn. I didn't know what it was. So then initially, I know this is not advice, but I did some Googling just to see what's going on. And I came across OCD and I thought, what's that? And then I read the symptoms. I thought that's pretty similar to me. And moving on, that led on to searching OCD pages on Instagram and Twitter, etc. And just sort of relating to what they were saying, and other sufferers and their stories, etc. So I had a few sessions with the local health service, but I didn't really find they had much idea about OCD, and that's nothing against them. It's just I think OCD is mainly in the dark at the moment, and not many people have a rough idea of what it is, and it's definitely not the stereotypical stuff you see on the news, etc. So yeah, mainly I'd say 2019. Summer 2019, I came across Rob's page on Instagram and Twitter, and then it's probably the first person I could actually relate to that could fully understand what I was going through. And I was reading the tweets, thought that's me. Like, is he talking about me, sort of thing. So yeah, I thought I'll get in contact with Rob. So yeah, I first got in contact with Rob, but like I said, summer 2019, initial sessions. Obviously back then I was engaging in avoidance, compulsions, doing everything OCD was feeding me, going into the bad habits, etc. Not having a clue that's what keeps you stuck, not doing any work. I didn't know what to do, so I was just getting on with my life, just severely affecting it, and just getting on. I just thought it would sometime go, but no. Anyway, just going back to when I first spoke to Rob. Firstly, it was mainly just bringing it for the ride then. Learning to bring it for the ride. Just getting on with your day how you would anyway. Not letting it affect you. Not letting it stop you doing things. And what I mean by that, I don't mean as soon as a thought comes in, you're fighting it and getting it off, and then you can live your life. No, you live your life anyway, no matter how hard that is, or how difficult, or whatever. Just do what you want to do, and do what you plan out to do. Next thing I'd like to go on to is avoidance. This was a big one for me. I avoided seeing my friends, my family, social events, sporting events, music events, whatever. Because mainly it will just trigger you, especially with POCD and harm OCD, real event. You're constantly scared of feeling anxious or going home and then feeling anxious or thinking, oh, in years' time, am I still going to be anxious about this? So yeah, just really limiting my enjoyment of life. And my advice with avoidance, so I don't avoid anything now. I know it's difficult because we're in lockdown, but before lockdown, early part of that, and when we come out, I won't be avoiding anything. I'll be going to any event I'm invited to, going out and seeing friends, etc. And this is so crucial because no matter how you feel, the more you avoid, OCD has that firm grip on you. It holds that firm grip every time you do avoid. Now I know at the time you think that's the best option. Of course it does. It grips you in on that. But it's just knowing your future self is thanking you and just sort of pleading you to go to that event, go and enjoy yourself, and just bring these emotions, bring these feelings and sensations for the ride. Is all part of the OCD trickery. So the next thing I'd like to talk about is compulsions. Just make sure you're cutting them out. No matter mental or physical compulsions. Mainly with me, it was neutralising the thought, or the events, or whatever was coming in. Just combating it with another word and purposely thinking another thought. So you try to distract yourself, and it don't work. You've got to go towards that thought. And then later on, what I'll go into is unconditional acceptance. You wouldn't matter what comes in if you accept yourself anyway. And then they'll gradually lose their grip. And also looking at events from a different angle. As soon as you think, oh, you've got some, you've resolved it, or you found the solution to it, boom, straight with another angle to cut that mental fight out. It doesn't get you anywhere. But also not beating yourself up if you do engage in some compulsions. It's not the end of the world. It's not ideal, but you're not going to nail this first time. Just keep pushing through and doing the best you can to cut them out one by one, or just cut them out altogether. Just giving it your best shot and going in with the mindset that your life depends on it, really. Just giving it your best shot. That's all you can do. Just don't be too harsh on yourself. So later on down the line, probably about 2 or 3 sessions in with Rob, he introduced me to exposures. Now, exposures are crucial. They won't recover you alone, but they are very crucial in my journey, especially with my themes and real event, POCD, harm OCD, anything, guilt. Just showing what you fear in reality isn't as scary as first perceived, especially with the fear of disapproval, etc., of not being liked, especially with shame attacks, which I'll go into the book later on in this video, the Albert Ellis book. And just making a fool of yourself, really, in public. And just, nothing terrible happens. You don't need anyone else's approval. And just not caring what other people think. And just really showing your brain that. Because mainly, if you care about what other people think, and it's keeping a firm grip on you, OCD will love that. And just showing your brain it is not as scary as you perceived. Moving on now. My next point is probably what's got me to where I am today. This point and my next point I'm going to make. This is unconditional self-acceptance. Now, does what it says on the tin. You accept yourself no matter what. Now, even if you did do a bad act, even if you did do a wrong act, even if you are a person you're not liked, if you didn't like by anyone, or if you did terrible, if you didn't do very well in your job, etc. Accepting yourself, even if you did. Know that you can work on from past mistakes, but never rating yourself, never awfulizing anything, or you're a terrible person because of this, because of that. So all that wasn't a wise act, so that didn't help me in that aspect of work, etc. So I can work on that and look to become more competent in that area, but not for rating yourself and go, oh, because I did this, because I didn't perform well, I'm a bad, horrible person, etc. No, you need to cut all that out. And then you got to remember, OCD loves that. If you're calling yourself a bad person or a wrong person or an inadequate, incompetent or no good, OCD is going to thrive on that. It'll live off that. And if you maintain that belief, then you probably won't get very far, especially with these sort of themes where it completely latches onto and that chronic guilt of being a bad person or whatever. So yeah, really getting in on that. Accepting yourself no matter what, and also others and life. So Because it's okay accepting yourself, but if you never accepted anyone else, or if you didn't accept life in itself, then I don't think you'd get very far. So, main one for me, accepting yourself, and then accepting other people, no matter if they do perform bad or do things that can frustrate you. That's them. They perform that frustrating act to you, but never writing them off as a person. And in life itself, so say if life conditions were quite grim, or you're deprived of most things, so in that aspect of life is quite bad, but never writing life off itself, never saying life's totally awful because it is, because of that certain area might be bad, but not your whole life, etc. And just changing your beliefs like that, changing your thinking. You'll be surprised so much by changing your thinking. You probably change your life as well. Well, I certainly have with mine. My next point, another massive one for me, disputing and challenging irrational beliefs. This will go into the book that's on Rob's reading list, the first one, How to Stubbornly Refuse to Make Yourself Miserable by Albert Ellis. Now, that sets the foundations for most things you need to learn, especially with POCD, guilt, anything to do with being stuck or chronically guilty or anxious, just not accepting yourself, or if you think you've done a bad act or think you're a bad person, etc., really gets in on that. And I just refuse to upset yourself about anything, literally anything. I'm putting the work in from that book, doing the exercises. I remember doing a lot of the exercises in there. I can still go back to them now. And that book's something I constantly get off the shelf in many years to come, I'd have thought. I do now. And it's a real game changer, that. It changes your beliefs and changes your perspectives. In regards to OCD and any taboo subject is ideal with that. And also another book that really helped for me is Myth of Self-Esteem also by Albert Ellis, and that's all about accepting yourself unconditionally, even if you did do this, even if you did do that, and just taking out the I can't stand this, I can't stand that, this is terrible, this is awful, and just changing it to go into that, but healthy feelings like I'm fortunate, or that'd be quite inconvenient, etc. And just firmly believing that, not just saying, "Oh, that would be unfortunate." Because if you really think it's awful, you probably remain anxious. But just showing yourself and disputing that it wouldn't be as bad as perceived. Think is awful, you probably remain anxious. But just showing yourself and disputing that it wouldn't be as bad as perceived. Wouldn't be terrible, wouldn't be dreadful, wouldn't be awful. Your life wouldn't be over. It might be inconvenient, might affect your life quite badly, but it doesn't mean your life's over. It doesn't mean you can never be happy again, etc. And that's what I mean by just changing your thinking, and you'll change your life. So I think I've covered most things there. I probably haven't when I watch this video back, but yeah, I've covered most things on unconditional acceptance and disputing and challenging beliefs. Yeah, just mainly just writing it down, really getting stuck in, really writing down what's bothering you, and just changing your beliefs around it. And that really, really, really helps with OCD. It will have nothing to latch onto after that. If you can accept yourself, even if you did do this event or whatever, this thought comes in, if you did accept yourself, even if it was real, then OCD will have nothing to latch on. Have a tantrum and then keep crying. Because, yeah, put in the work and then you'll reap the rewards. So I've covered most things I said in my Instagram post on Rob's page. But one thing I didn't mention, now I don't know why I didn't mention it, but I'd like to go into setbacks and relapses. Now, we're human, these things happen. You're not going to wake up, do a bit of disputing, and that's it. You're dancing around the street, that just won't happen. So, prepare for setbacks, but don't fear them, is my advice. So don't constantly work. Oh my God, if I feel anxious again, that's it, game over. You will feel anxious again. You ain't going to recover overnight. It's a long, ongoing recovery journey. Is a process, and it's, like I said, it's not overnight. So setbacks do happen and will happen. Change your mindset to that, and if they do, go back to your knowledge of what got you out of the last bit of suffering or disturbance you were having. Go back to the thinking, changing your thinking, exposures. Make sure you're not avoiding anything. And you've also got, remember, you've got Rob there, who can help just keeping you on track. Certainly helped with me a few times when I was going back into my old thinking, calling myself a terrible, awful person again. Going back, changing that, and just setting through exposures and changing your beliefs, whatever. You've also got the OCD recovery group chat, another game changer for me. People going through exactly the same thing. Talk to them. Everyone's willing to help in there. You've got the Facebook pages, etc. Everyone's willing to help each other. And just going through it, and we're all in it together, and you're not alone. That's the main thing. So yeah, that's it with setbacks. They will happen. Don't fear. That's what fear mainly thrives on. Just getting on. Oh my God, I'm gonna feel anxious again. Oh, I'm not gonna go to this because I'm gonna feel that chronic guilt again. If you do, you do. Once you learn these changes in your thinking, that's fine. You can get back to it, but just not putting anything off because you might feel anxious again. If you do, you do. If I have a big relapse and I'm suffering quite badly again, then so be it. I can use the tools, and I like to think I could use them wisely and to my knowledge again, and help me get out of the locked in state and the stuck state that I was in. That's mainly it really. Where I am now is, well, I think I rounded off my posts on Rob's page with how much I enjoy life now. Remember, we are in lockdown, so that is quite frustrating, but it's not permanent. It's not the end of the world. So yeah, just I look forward to getting up, even in lockdown, and just looking to come out of lockdown as well, going out and enjoying myself like I didn't before probably. Not as much. It had a much firmer grip on me. And just helping others along the way is great, and it's just if you can get into a habit of enjoying the work that you're doing, and you're seeing the results that you're getting out of putting in the work, then I don't think that's a better reward. That's certainly my reward, and just enjoying life and just doing the best you can out of it. And I hope this helps people, especially from my age, 20 years old, early 20s, and just completely stuck with taboo subjects or POCD, harm OCD, real event, cheating OCD, anything that you can feel guilty about. I hope it helps, and keep up the work. Don't give up hope. That's the last thing you do. You've always got other people around you, and you're not alone. So yeah, I hope this helps. Thumbs up from me. Take care, everyone. See you in a bit.